Hey everybody, we are back at you again one more time with some of that vital encouragement, because I know that as the fire grows, we are all going to be those vital encouragers that are going through the world and being the salt of the earth. And so I'm just so honored, so happy to be here with you today. I love when we all can be together with Jesus and sit at his feet. I just wanted to go into part 2. We're here on part 2 on our angry series. We know that anger equals danger. And so we got to stay away from that, and that anger matters to God. And so today we're really talking about our words, that angry words can cost us everything, and that me and you, we need to make that choice. Do we want to build or break? So going back to our verses, Jesus pointed out 2 words. And one time he said raka, and the other he said full, and by emphasizing these 2 things, he's really showing us that these words shouldn't be spoken, and really what that tells me and you is that we need to avoid sarcasm, that some of these things just really have no place in our mouth. Me and you, we've really been called to encourage people and build them up, and so, insulting and talking down to people like, hey, even if we weren't following Christ, we know that's not cool. You know what I mean? Proverbs 18:21 says that the power of life and death is in the tongue. And that me and you, we need to be careful, and we need to be just people who love, and we want to speak life, and we want to lift each other up and encourage them. The second thing is that me and you, when we're thinking about sorry about that. Yeah. And so, we just need to make sure that when we're talking, that we're speaking with grace, and grace is just speaking to somebody even though they don't deserve it. And in the word of God, it tells us in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, to let our conversation be seasoned with salt. And so we don't need to go around and sugarcoat things, but we also don't need to beat people up with the word of God. The last thing I want to point out to you is that before we say something, we need to ask ourselves, man, how is this going to come off? Is this going to hurt somebody, or is this going to build them up? And that's so important, because we read in the word of God in James chapter 1, verse 9, that we need to be slow to speak, quick to listen. Y'all, this is my encouragement to you today. We need to have our conversation seasoned with salt, full of grace. We need to watch our words, and we need to be slow to speak, because in the end, that will help us speak with joy instead of anger. I love y'all. Bye-bye.